This is a videotape that I put together of 2 or 3 different tapes about Hurricane Hugo that hit South Carolina on the Thursday night of September the 21st and Friday morning, September the 22nd, 1989. These are pictures of newspapers. This particular paper here was the Sunday week after it hit on that Friday. This would be October the 1st when this picture came out. This man in the top picture is standing where his home used to be, right behind him, and there's nothing there now. That's on Polly's Island. The next picture is a National Guard soldier at Garden City, which was heavily damaged and many homes just completely destroyed. The bottom picture on the left is a picture at Garden City, and picture on the right is the globe there at Myrtle Beach of Guinness World Book of Records, where it took the roof off the top of that building, which is shaped like a globe. This is the first paper that came out after the storm hit on Friday morning. This is Greenville Piedmont on Friday that afternoon, showing some of the destruction and damage. This series of little small photographs tracking Hugo shows the path of the storm starting at 11:30 p.m., then 12 a.m. and 12:30, and shows it coming on shore. This picture shows a satellite picture just before the eye of the hurricane. You can see the black dot in the swirl of the white clouds there, and that's just as it's about to make landfall. Then 12:30 a.m. the center is right on the Charleston, right at the Charleston Harbor. 12:30 a.m. it's just slightly inland. 1 a.m. it is inland. 3:30 a.m. it's hard to see the eye anymore, but at that point it was about Sumter. And 4:30 a.m. it was near the South Carolina, North Carolina line. This is a scene of a street in Charleston, and this is a scene of a house in Charleston. This is the next morning, Saturday morning, and the headlines killed 12 in the Carolinas. This actually turned out to be a final death total of 28, and final damage turned out to be over $6 billion. This generally shows the path that it took through the state. The storm was actually wider than the state is wide. So there was not any place in the state that wasn't affected, although the northwest corner in Greenville County just took a swipe with a 40, 50 mile an hour wind. Some more pictures of the Charleston, of a marina in Charleston. And these are pictures of mobile homes in Garden City. On the left is a summary of what Hugo. This is a picture of a hurricane tracking map that I purchased many years ago, and I started tracking Hugo even when it was a tropical storm, it seemed to be very well organized even when it was a tropical storm. And as it grew in intensity and approached some of the islands southeast of Puerto Rico, it was hurricane strength then, some 115, 120 mile an hour winds. Went across Barbados, went across the end of Puerto Rico, and when it went across Puerto Rico, it had winds 115 miles an hour. Then it took a more northerly course, northwesterly course. It went to the east of the Bahamas, and then on Thursday, there wasn't any doubt. By Wednesday, there wasn't any doubt it was going to hit somewhere on the east coast, anywhere from Jacksonville to somewhere up in North Carolina. And further it went Wednesday, it took a slight turn to the north on Thursday, and first projections were that it was going to come ashore at about the Georgia-South Carolina line, even Savannah. Savannah appeared to be where it was going to hit. As the day went on Thursday, it took even more little track to the turn, north to the turn to the north, and it appeared it might hit in Hilton Head in that area. And it turned even more, and when it finally came ashore, the eye was just almost in the Charleston harbor, just slightly to the north. And it went across Charleston, went up through Santee, went across Sumter just to the east of Columbia as it turned more to the north, went across Camden, then Rock Hill, and into Charlotte, where it did extensive damage in Charlotte. Florence also had a lot of damage due to tornadoes and the wind. After it went through Charlotte, and of course it was downgraded to a low pressure area, just a storm, and it went on through the western end of the state of Virginia. Then it went through West Virginia and on up into Pennsylvania, and then out through the northeast was very heavy rain and some wind, but all of the deaths primarily took place in South Carolina and North Carolina. The next scenes that will be coming are scenes that I shot while watching television at the 11 o'clock news on Thursday night. And rather than putting it in a videotape, I taped it with the camera. And the 11 o'clock news on Channel 4 was devoted entirely to Hugo, because it was, by that point, it was almost ready to make landfall in Charleston. It was only some 30 minutes to an hour away from making landfall, and they were already having high winds. Then the scenes that follow after the television, the Channel 4, will be the Weather Channel, when the hurricane was actually making landfall. And thing to notice on those scenes from the Weather Channel is how big the storm is. It reaches all the way across South Carolina, up into North Carolina, and even down to Georgia. And I think what we misunderstand about this storm is it was not like the width of a tornado. The storm was as wide as almost 2 states. And the scenes that follow after the Weather Channel are some shots that I made outside on our deck on Friday morning as the storm was going past Charlotte. We had 40, 50 mile an hour wind gust in Greenville. And then the scenes following that will be scenes that Mary Jane and I made when we went to Garden City on Sunday morning after the storm hit on Friday morning. And we left Greenville at 4 a.m., got down there about 9:30. Everything was under martial law. We had to identify ourselves before we could even get across the inland waterway at Walkmall Pottery. I had a highway patrolman there to check some proof of ownership. Then when we got down to Garden City, we had to do all that again. And even though we'd carried a trailer and some supplies and a ladder, we had to park the van in a trailer in a field up next to US 17. They loaded us in the back of an Army truck. And the first scenes you see as we're going into Garden City is out the back of that Army truck. And then, of course, when we got down to Garden City, we had to get out, and then we walked a mile up to the house, and then after that, we walked up to the 17th floor of the Idleia Towers across from the house, made pictures from up there. Then we walked back down toward the Kingfisher and made pictures of what was left of it. And then about a mile south of the Kingfisher, and that's when the batteries went dead on the video camera. We left shortly after that. Then the next pictures you see start on US 17 going north into Myrtle Beach, which was not damaged really as much as Florence was. There was a lot of damage right against the surf, right against the beach at Myrtle Beach, but inland just a few blocks, it really didn't look as bad as Myrtle Beach in Charlotte did. Then we traveled from Myrtle Beach back up to Florence. Then we had to go across through Darlington and Sherrill and Rockingham and Asheboro up to Greensboro for a meeting that we had to go to. So the scenes...
You can follow Hurricane Hugo off.
And here's what happened tonight. Charleston County was fleeing, especially in the outlying islands, now are deserted and closed. Downtown Charleston had a deserted look late this afternoon as most shops closed up early. The owners left town. That mass exodus caused traffic jams on Interstate 26 West. For a time, state troopers closed traffic in the eastbound lanes to handle some of the overflow. But during this evening, they reopened the roads. And a lot of low-country residents, including Hugo, are taking up residence in upstate hotels. Tonight, innkeepers in Greenville and Spartanburg say hundreds of thousands of people have come in during the last few hours. Tonight, those without reservations may be out of luck. There are reportedly no motel rooms left in the upstate tonight. Investors are referring people to Asheville and Charlotte, where a few rooms still are available.
More on that a bit later. Charlie's been watching his radar screen all night, as you might expect, watching Hugo close in on land.
He joins us now with the latest. Charlie?
Harold Carl Hugo is not far from land. In fact, he is 35 miles distant from Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston is getting wind gusts to 85 miles per hour at this hour. It seems now that Hugo is making a run for land, and landfall is going to be within the next 1.5 hours at Charleston or slightly to the north of that city. The situation in the upstate becomes a little bit more critical now as Hugo pursues a northwesterly course. Wind gusts in our area could run from 40 to 50 miles per hour later on tonight in the early morning hours. Some wind gusts in the upstate could reach as high as 60 miles per hour, and precipitation amounts too that earlier were evaluated as 2 to 4 inches could certainly be in the 4 to 6 inch range before the storm moves out of our area tomorrow. We'll have more on it in the latest coordinates in the 11 o'clock advisory position a little bit later. Carol.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Carl's on the phone for a good reason. Obviously, with the weather the way it is, it's very difficult to get a satellite shot from the beach. Carl now is talking to Ken Sparks on the phone. Ken is in Charleston.
Can't get a picture of it all, but Ken, where are you, and what can you tell us about what's going on down there?
Well, I'm still in the Emergency Preparedness Center here in Charleston, and the situation right now is very bad. About the worst that can be expected for Charleston is happening as the full fury of the force of Hugo is being turned against this city. At 9:30 this evening, they declared a state of heightened emergency throughout the area, and the civil defense people told those who had not evacuated the city to simply stay where they are, not attempt to travel, that it was far too dangerous to do that. It was much safer to stay in their homes and just simply ride out the storm. It is an incredibly awesome sight here. The sky, for most of the time, is as black as the midnight hour that is approaching, and it is periodically punctuated by these bursts of blue in the sky, not so much from the hurricane and lightning, but because of transformers, electrical transformers that continue to explode and power lines that continue to be ripped from the poles and dropped to the ground. The city is very slowly becoming isolated from the rest of the world. Power is out in many of the areas, and telephone communications are very difficult. I'm on a cellular phone, and that's the only way we are able to talk to you at this point. Of course, all satellite communications are out entirely right now. And that's the situation as it is.
All right, Ken, thank you very much. Ken Sparks, live on the telephone at least in Charleston with the word there.
Ken, be careful. The long arm of Hurricane Hugo packs a punch that will hit the upstate. The question is, will it be a knockout or just a glancing blow?
Reporter Carmiello is live at the National Weather Service office at the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport, where officials are keeping a close eye on Hugo's path, of course. Carm, how looks it for the upstate now?
Well, it looks like the upstate is going to feel more of an effect of Hugo than we thought just 2 hours ago. The meteorologists here are watching Hugo with a growing sense of awe at the power of this storm. Category 4 hurricanes are quite rare, and thankfully so, because they pack quite a wallop, as we just heard from Ken. Hugo's effects are already being felt here in the Western Carolinas. Let's take a look. The radar screen shows you from south of Greenwood to north of Asheville. There's light rain over the entire region. That is expected to get a little bit worse as the night goes on. The barometer is dropping steadily as the night goes on. That's a sure sign that a storm is approaching. Charlie, we pan down here and we see the wind is gusting up around 10, 15, 17 miles an hour. Just a few hours ago, it was holding steady at 10 miles an hour. It's hard to predict the exact effect here in the upstate because Hurricane Hugo is doing kind of a hokey pokey out there in the Atlantic. It's wobbling to the left and it's wobbling to the right. Right now we have more of a wobble to the left. Jim Curtis, I guess that means it's likely to come ashore full force in Charleston. What effect is that going to have here in the upstate?
Well, the storm is expected to hit the coast near Charleston shortly after midnight. It now appears that it's on a more westerly course, and the more westerly the movement is, the more that it's going to affect the upstate. We certainly expect a good deal of rain with it and very windy conditions for tomorrow morning.
Stay close to radio and TV tonight and you'll be able to find out more exactly about the effect here in the upstate. They've put on another pot of coffee. They're settled in for a long night. Carl, Carol?
We have our coffee pot on too here, Carm, and we're going to be here all night long. Thank you very much. We'll get back to you throughout the evening.
Yeah.
Carol's on the telephone.
Deborah Ross, and she is in Myrtle Beach. Deborah, what can you tell us about the situation there?
Carol, the situation really has changed dramatically in the last hour. When I spoke to you last, we have great winds, and it's just coming down in sheets of rain. I wish I could talk to you in person, but I can't because our satellite truck is down right now. We don't want to keep our dish up because our truck was wobbling so. And I also want to warn you that we're having a power problem here, so I hope I don't lose contact with you as we talk. The trees are bending here. The palm trees are bending here as if they were made of rubber. It's really incredible what is going on here. It is so bad, I can't even imagine the few people.
Deborah? Unfortunately, what Deborah feared is what has just happened. We have lost contact with her. Hopefully we'll be able to talk with her a bit later. She was reporting from Myrtle Beach, where once again the situation sounds a bit dangerous. If you're worried about friends and relatives who may be in Hugo's path, we can offer you 2 ways to get up-to-the-minute information on the hurricane. Call Fairfax anytime at 242-4444. After that, make that call. Enter H-U-G-O, Hugo. It's a quick way to get the location of Hugo. Call anytime. Or you can call the Department of the Interior hotline at area code 202-343-6816. And one local school district has decided
we're having to concentrate on those areas that we didn't, and there are a lot more of our permanent population is in those areas.
Hurricane force winds pounded the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand, known as the hot spot in the South for warm, sunny vacations. Earlier today, there were emergency shelters set up just about a mile or 2 away from the beach. They've all been moved further inland. But some people, like restaurant owner Joe Barra and his family, are waiting until the last minute to evacuate.
We lived on a sailboat for 8 years in the Bahamas. Rosa was born on a sailboat in the Bahamas, so she knows the water pretty good.
Barra says he's been putting off leaving, fearing when he returns, his beachfront restaurant will be underwater. Deborah Ross, News Center 4.
Hundreds of evacuees from the coast look for shelter in Spartanburg, but most of the hotels have filled to capacity. And as Jonathan Sari reports, that forced the Red Cross to open a disaster shelter.
This was the scene on I-26 in Spartanburg. Thousands of evacuees making the westward journey toward higher ground. Evacuees like Jim and Wanda Gilson from Kansas. Hurricane Hugo turned their Myrtle Beach dream vacation into a living nightmare. And as far as they're concerned, there's no place like home.
We're going back with Dorothy. I think I prefer tornadoes to Hugo.
Finding lodging was a game of musical chairs. By sundown, most of the county motels were filled to capacity.
Well, we went from motel to motel, and finally we found a motel that would accept us. So we are very lucky.
For the less fortunate, the Red Cross opened a shelter at Westside Baptist Church on Reedville Road. One of the first arrivals, a woman from Bluffton, who fled the foul weather with 145 birds.
You couldn't leave. No way. If they couldn't go, I wouldn't go.
Normally, the Red Cross forbids pets in its shelters, but tonight there would be an exception. This shelter has a capacity of 250 people, and the Red Cross expects it to fill up quickly as the night goes on. In Spartanburg, Jonathan Siri, News Center 4 Update.
A lot of people are on the move tonight. At latest estimate, emergency management officials say some 20,000 people from the coastal areas have been evacuated to 64
300,000 people left the coast.
statewide in preparation.
That's in North Carolina, of course, now. And up next, how will Hugo affect us in the upstate and the mountains?
Well, of course, Charlie's the man with the answers, and he's next.
You can feel the high humidity of tropical air working into the upstate. The high this afternoon will reach 85 and the morning low is 64. The humidity is very high. Fog is already forming out there with the rain, current reading at 80%. We're out here at 29.90 inches of mercury and falling. Surface winds are from the north at 12 miles per hour. We're going to get so far. We're going to get a lot more before the night is over. September, equally cloudy skies with scattered showers. The temperature 79. The high was 82 and the morning low is 63. And up in the North Carolina mountains, showers a mild night. 11 o'clock, 71 degrees at Asheville. Their high was 78. Morning low was 60 degrees. Now here's the way it looks in the upstate. We have bands of rain moving from the east to the west. In the western part of the Carolinas. We've updated the precipitation figures for tonight and tomorrow. We could get anywhere to 4 to 6 inches of rain. Folks living in terrain that is subjected to low-lying flooding certainly take all precautions because rain moving in from the storm is going to be very, very heavy. And winds, too, that were earlier estimated at 30 to 40 miles per hour, could gust as high as 60 miles per hour tonight. Now, Hurricane Hugo is just about to make landfall, about an hour and a half away. It appears that it will be the city of Charleston over the eye, just slightly to the north of Charleston. It's really academic, as large and dangerous as the storm is. The 11 o'clock coordinates at 32.4 degrees north latitude, 79.5 degrees west longitude. If you plot that out on your chart, you'll see that it's 35 miles southeast of the city of Charleston, carrying maximum winds of 135 miles per hour around a small area near the eye. Charleston reported 11 o'clock winding from the northeast, 80 miles per hour with higher gusts. Now, the flood watch is up for both the Carolinas and portions of the coastal sections of Georgia. That will continue throughout tonight, probably through tomorrow. Tornado watch is confined to the eastern portions of North and South Carolina, but there is a high wind advisory in effect for the upstate of South Carolina, along with the threat of flash flooding. Hurricane warnings continue as far north again as Oregon Inlet, North Carolina. And again, here's the track on Hugo since it left Puerto Rico. It's pursued that relentless northwestern trajectory, now about to make landfall near Charleston, South Carolina. We are hoping that it will turn northward up through east central North Carolina, then into Virginia late tomorrow. There are some developments in the upper atmosphere over here, over in southern Alabama, that could induce the storm to cut around to the left. We'll be watching it all night long. Here's the forecast for the local area. Rainy, windy, and foggy with a low of 65 to 68, and northeast wind 15 to 18 with gusts to 40. Windy and rainy tomorrow, the high 72 to 75. Winds northeast 18 to 25 with gusts as high as 50 miles per hour. Rainy, foggy, and windy with a low 60 to 63.
Officials here said that forecasters are telling them that Hurricane Hugo will come ashore directly over Charleston Harbor sometime within the next 2 hours with winds of more than 135 miles an hour, pushing up to an 18 to 20-foot wall of water directly in over Charleston Harbor and flooding most of the south portions of the city and the downtown area. Already this evening there has been water reported in downtown Charleston. There have been reports of tornadoes and outlying areas. Electrical transformers have been popping left and right. Wide areas of the city have been left without power. One bridge to the Barrier Islands area is already out of service, been knocked out by the storm tides. And the Barrier Islands themselves, just east of Charleston, have been completely covered with water. But despite all of that, despite the grim situation here, officials say not a single person has been reported injured thus far this evening. They are, however, braced for a disaster. They're expecting extensive damage when Hugo slashes the shore sometime after midnight Eastern time with, as we said, those 135-mile-an-hour winds and a storm tidal surge of between 18 and 20 feet. In fact, there are some serious concerns at this hour about the very structural integrity of the Emergency Preparation Center where most of the media people have been camped out all evening. This is Charles Ziegler reporting live from the Emergency Preparation Center, Charleston, South Carolina.
There you see it, Carl, the transmission almost on the way out.
Not bad picture. Guess we're lucky to get every call out at this point. All right, assistance for hurricane victims is being assembled all over, even before there was a need for it. Salvation Army workers and volunteers loaded up food and other emergency supplies for the coast. These items will be trucked to Columbia, where they'll be stockpiled, stored, until it can be determined where they're needed the most. And they'll all become part of a large pool of food and other items earmarked for the storm victims.
Upstate South Carolina emergency medical personnel are heading to the coast to help where they're needed. Medical technicians from Greenville, Anderson, and Pickens County will rendezvous in Columbia with other EMS people and wait for word from the governor, probably tomorrow, about where to go on the coast where there is a need. Now, with Hurricane Hugo set to hit with full force on the coast very soon, stay with you throughout the night. Charlie, of course, will continue to bring you updates for 3 hours.
And at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, look for a full half-hour of coverage with Rebecca Williams, John Culbertson, and Julie.
Tom, as a matter of fact, the eye wall is now on the coast at Charleston, right on the coast just south of Charleston. So they're starting to feel the full force of that hurricane at this time.
And how long can we expect the worst part of this storm to last? We know that the advanced edge is the most damaging part of it. How long will that take to pass through that area?
Well, in the Charleston area, that's going to start diminishing slowly after about 2 or 3 hours. But as you go on up the coast up towards Myrtle Beach, they're still going to get a peak a little bit later than that.
And what do you think will happen to Hurricane Hugo once it gets over land and is not able to replenish itself, so to speak, as a result of having left the water? Will it begin to dissipate rather rapidly, or do we expect this to turn and go north and cause a lot of damage there?
Well, indeed, as it moves inland, it cuts off its source of energy there, and so it will start to diminish fairly quickly. Hurricane-force winds will probably be sustained for about 12 hours, turn toward the north, and then the big problem will be the flash floods, the heavy rains on the east side of the Appalachian chain.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Bob Sheets, who has been working virtually around the clock. Next time, look at his tie. He's got about 9 microphones clipped down there because he's talking to everybody in the country. He did have a chance to change his jacket at least tonight. Joe Woody, we've all been watching hurricanes for a long time. We've seen them come and go in the past several years. Sometimes we thought that they were going to be big and they kind of dissipated. This one turned the other way on us, didn't it?
That's right. It was big at 150 mile an hour as it headed towards the Caribbean, and then it decreased as it passed Puerto Rico, died down considerably, had winds of 115 miles an hour, and was only a scale 2 storm, which is sort of a minor hurricane. And we did not really think it was going to intensify. But lo and behold, the conditions improved, the water temperature was above that critical 83-degree temperature, and the storm intensified. And another very critical thing, the storm was moving about 10 miles an hour, and it doubled in speed to about 20 miles an hour, and that moved the distance of Florida in about 20 hours' time. And that's why it's arriving tonight at midnight, rather than at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, as we had thought earlier today.
As we go back now to that computer picture, we want to take a look at it. We'll talk about what the real dangers are in that low-lying area that reaches all the way from North Florida, really, up into the Carolinas. The danger, of course, is that there's been a lot of construction there in the last 10 years on the outer islands and in the low-lying areas of the mainland, and a lot of people are worried about the structural damage that could occur as a result of those very high winds, 135 miles an hour, and the storm surge. We simply cannot talk enough about that. They have evacuated everyone that they conceivably can evacuate. However, some people have stayed in their homes perilously close to the edge of the sea. We'll try to get an update on their fate as well as this evening goes on. For now, I'm Tom Brokaw, NBC News in New York. On behalf of all of us, Hurricane Hugo is here, and it is a monster. We do expect overnight damage and flooding. We'll have complete details for you throughout the evening on this NBC station, and then, of course, beginning tomorrow morning with NBC News at sunrise, followed by the Today program. They'll have complete coverage then as well. It does not look good, especially for the Charleston, South Carolina area, but gratefully enough advance warning. Most of the people now have been evacuated from those homes and buildings that were directly in the path of Hurricane Hugo tonight. We'll keep you up to date as best we can throughout the evening and throughout the morning here on NBC. For now,
Eye wall right now on top of the Charleston area, and the winds are, of course, maximum sustained with miles an hour slamming on through the city right now. And this is expected to great amount of devastation. Another picture, again, showing you the thunderstorms and the convection right there on the western edge that eye wall. Let's take a look now. The precipitation so far, the actual rainfall has been very heavy around the Georgia, South Carolina coast, up to 2 inches of rain in many areas. Those rain totals are constantly going up. We are expecting anywhere from 10 to 15 inches of rainfall as Hurricane Hugo continues to move to the northwest inland. Now, for the next 12 hours, we think Hugo will continue to the northwest and gradually begin turning back to the north. As we keep tab on what's happening along the coastal areas, a very dramatic view of the eye, and you can see it's still roughly about 20 miles in diameter. There's the Isle of Palms, there's Folly Beach, and here in the western suburbs over by Goose Creek and over there toward Holly Hill, they'll be seeing some very gusty winds. And by the way, Dennis Smith and Cindy Kressler are over by Walterboro, South Carolina. That's about 40 miles away. We'll try to get through to them within about 5 or 10 minutes and talk with them. And as that time approaches, they should be seeing some very, very gusty winds as well. Take a look now at the rain that has fallen. Got a report out of Savannah already about 3.5 inches. Plenty more, and then it's going to take the turn. And unfortunately, the areas are already very saturated. North Carolina, Virginia, on up into Maryland. We could see 10 to 15 inches as we go on through the evening and then the overnight. And then we think the storm will be accelerating, and as it does, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, they're already under a flash flood watch, but we think your counterparts up above at 100 miles an hour at the time of the arrival of that eye. Take it back down to our map. Again, the storm surge. Unfortunately, the high tide in places like Myrtle Beach, about 1:45 in the morning, so tides, believe it or not, could be 12 to 17 feet above normal. In particular, out there by Cape Romaine, near Georgetown, and on down toward the greater Charleston area. And one other thing, the threat of tornadoes always very high. With a landfalling hurricane right now, the tornado...
This is the fringes of Hurricane Hugo on Friday morning, September 22nd, 1988. We're having gusts up to 40 miles an hour this morning. Barometer is 29.3.
I'll let you.
Cheers. Look for your mattresses, Mary Jane.
Look for our mattresses.
Yeah. They might be.
washed up. That's what I was told.
There's a house sitting in the edge of the water.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two of them. Look at that car right there. Good land.
Yeah, we still got a mile more to walk.
Yeah.
We almost still got 2 miles. Wait, you know the right.
We'll take you all the way to Bedford. What y'all can do is find out. All y'all get off. And we go the direction. I just need to
we're going
there. Yeah,
up the road.
What we gonna do is let y'all off. You said we gonna find out definitely. We'll pick you back up. Okay. We'll pick you back up. All right.
Well, that is the pier. I'm going to video of it so y'all can see that. For goodness sake.
Becky, that's where she bought her paint. That's not even on her. Right next to her.
There's really nothing to say. You just really can't describe it. It's more awesome than I even seen it on ETV than seeing it. It's just undescribable. Yellow. We see some yellow, we believe it's there. Well, it's standing.
Still here.
It's standing.
We might need to borrow that ladder.
It's underneath the
Those are
house.
flowers. No, that's the shed with 2 sheds. That's
Yeah.
another car.
Yeah. Okay. Got a mailbox here, so don't have to walk too far to get paper now. There goes Darrell. It looks like a car's been driven underneath the house through the tool shed.
No front or back steps.
No front or back steps. Here's Boone's house. It's damaged pretty bad.
We got 2 cars.
We've gained 2 cars. Just cannot describe it. Just sand is, I guess, 3 to 4 feet deep. We've got a Jeep and 2 cars.
Those aren't yours?
No, never seen them before.
But they were not their cars?
There you have it, folks. 93 is there, but Walk-A-Mall's not. Columns damaged.
Would you like to close me up if I get in this car?
Yeah.
I
We got a column missing here and one damaged there. The car propelling through here is what took these columns out.
Yeah, I think it did.
You can see
And the steps.
here's a car in where the furnace and 2 sheds and showers used to be. Looks like we got us a red Mustang here. Incredible. This. Here's a Volkswagen Jeep where the back steps used to be. Mary Jane's got an axe.
Coleman said he's not.
This is a Ford Thunderbird. I thought it was a Mustang, but it's not. It's
I know Dana could get up here.
a Ford Thunderbird jammed in where the furnace room and the showers used to be. Okay, we found some sort of ladder. Uh-oh, Del.
Hey, there's a ladder right there. Look. We're looking everywhere, and there's an extension ladder.
Yeah, great.
Yay, we found the ladder. Now we'll see if we can get up in the house. Be careful. Be careful.
There's some new back steps.
Yeah,
The
Artie.
other ones were too dangerous.
Yeah, Artie, we built these. Yay, you made it.
All right.
Okay. You hand the camera up there, and then I'll... Here. Oh, the sand. Here, take... Take it off a minute.
Quit filming.
I did. I'm gonna wait till you get it off.
Yeah. Because I need to save that battery.
I just go ahead and slice through the thing. You
Well, I
want
was
to...
trying to save it where I can put it back up at, but I don't guess we need to.
Well, no. Yay! Now for the key.
You know, at this point,
I'm scared.
you would even break the door now.
Well, we don't have a light. We can't film inside. And here we go inside.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow!
Unbelievable.
Great!
Unbelievable.
Super!
Clock stopped at 11:13. Obviously Thursday night. The house is in, the interior of the house is in excellent condition. No water damage, not a single window is out. And we have made still pictures of everything in place in case that you get looted after the fact. Then it would be breaking and entering. But at this point, there's nothing missing. Well, he didn't have much time. Coffee maker, refrigerator. That probably says it all right there. We ought to be thankful.
Thanks to Artie and Willie.
Yeah, thanks to Artie and Willie and the good Lord. Some good condition inside. Just unbelievable. The lamp's still sitting on the dresser. Just unbelievable. It's on the wall, still on the wall.
Well, they took the best ones home. They took the good ones home. That leaves right here.
Artie took the mattresses and boarded up the windows with the mattress, an old Coast Guard trick he learned. Worked doggone good, too. Look at that. The lamp's still sitting on the dresser. This lamp's still sitting on the table. Mary Jane's straightening up all the bedding and both. Yeah, I'm okay. Even the pictures on the outside wall over there. Both these lamps still on the dresser, on the table. Main reason for these pictures now, in case gets looted after the fact. Right now, control is very stringent. You have to show proof of ownership, and very heavily patrol. The danger will be after the National Guard and how we patrol these.
Larry, you said the stick wouldn't make it, but it wasn't my fault it didn't make it. It was Hugo.
But the stick is still there, Laurie. It's not looking too good, but it's still there.
Baby's still here.
Oh, me.
Oh, well.
All right, now this is looking head on into the house, and evidently what happened is that Ford Thunderbird came right through this column right there and took it out, and then took the steps out and drove it all the way through to the back of the house. It drove that Thunderbird all the way through the house. Yellow paint all over the red Thunderbird. I'm going to sue him for reckless driving. Can't drive a lick. But I want to tell you, that's a pretty good Ford. Took out 2 concrete block columns. No license plate. Oh, gotta bring the key next time so we can unlock the door. Also, you're gonna have to buy another lawnmower. That one ain't looking too good. There's the air conditioner, and there's our furnace. Looks like the Jeep came all the way through the house also. Yeah, it did. And took out the back steps. There's a view looking out the backyard. That mobile home right there used to be right there. And probably that Coke machine probably used to be over in Atalaya Towers, I guess. I don't know. There's another mobile home in the background just totally demolished. Boone's house, the bottom of it's pretty well ripped out. There's my boundary rope. Yeah, that's a good idea. Go.
We don't have anything to write. You got a pencil?
Yeah, I got something.
Well, write that down. I got this.
Uh-huh.
What in the world? This
is standing in what used to be our front yard, and this is looking down toward the Kingfisher. It's part of the center line of the highway right there. All right, now this is panning around Atalaya Towers parking lot. I'd say the sand in the Atalaya parking lot is probably 2-3 feet deep. Looks like the Volkswagen went all the way through, just drove it all the way through the underside of the left side of the house. Then the Thunderbird went through the right side. Where y'all been? We came to eat dinner with you.
Well, I tried to get y'all, and
Yeah?
nobody would answer.
Is that right?
Well, you see, we can't get out at Conway.
Right. You can't get long distance at Conway?
No, they said to call, you tried to get AT&T,
Yeah.
and I cussed one operator out.
Uh-oh.
I told her, I just said, listen here, I want Russell Ashmore,
Right.
and it's emergency.
Yeah. Look in. Did y'all stay through it all the way? Did y'all stay down here during?
No,
Y'all got
Russell,
out?
we left Thursday night.
Yeah, that's good.
We wasn't allowed to come down here to yesterday.
Uh-huh. Right, it's kind of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, you see the cars you got? That's my Thunderbird over there.
It is your Thunderbird? Oh, I didn't know whose it was. That's not yours. Okay. Mary Jane, here's Miss Boone.
We wondered if you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here yesterday. Where did you go? Conway. That's the only place we could find a place. The rest of them had to go.
Well, this is something we'll remember for a long time to come.
Yes, sir. This is unbelievable, isn't it?
You couldn't no one believe until they see.
No, I saw film on ETV, but when I got down here, it's just shocking. You just cannot believe it. The ETV film's just nothing compared to standing here.
Tell you if them things worked, we'd have enough, wouldn't we? And all that furniture back there, Joe said, y'all pick it up. I said, where are we going to put it, Joe? I said, I'm going to call Russ and tell him we'll put it all under there. And you better not go and get it.
Well, somebody else might come on and get it, but I'm glad that they're patrolling like this. Richard Woods.
Just bring y'all in.
I'm glad y'all are checking that stuff. That makes me feel better. That's his white car, Richard.
Oh, is that right? That's your little white car?
I think it was. It wouldn't start.
Oh my
He
goodness.
said they had
It
another
wouldn't
car.
start, so I had to
and
leave it sitting there, and it was sitting right on the outside corner.
we just got
Right over here.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to. I hope the insurance people give me permission to get it moved tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it's not in our way.
This is the preacher that I tell you about. That's his car over there. He rents to me and he's on the 14th floor. This was his son.
There, and I got booked and a few tomatoes. You want to keep over? Yeah. Here. That's the only identification I got that proves that I'm a resident down here anywhere.
We're glad you're that thorough. We really are.
We can really appreciate it.
You better put your brother-in-law to sit, put me a roof on.
Okay.
Well, he'll do it. That's the business.
Well, come on.
Well, we'll make a start at it.
Yeah, it's close to some years in.
That might have been one of the pictures they took. Of the White House. Well, they checking on this? That's good, look. About scared you when they check you.
Uh-huh.
They've already can they put those in for?
That's 2 houses that have been carried from the beach all the way across the marsh and on the other side of the creek.
Devastation is unreal.
Richard, with the houses right there, kind of to the left of the family.
Looks like the roof's in good condition on our house. As best I can tell, it's probably the least damaged house that I've seen so far on the second row. There goes somebody in our house.
He's probably going to look at that car back there. He's going to look at that car.
What's that on the front? Is it not coming in and
I don't know, it's some kind of official.
City.
Kind of like seeing from a helicopter.
They live here. Probably checking for gas leaks and things like that.
Uh-huh.
We don't have anything. Everything's been going away in a minute. And I believe it was the back. How about you at the back? So he had to know that when she died.
That's why you put in an elevator in.
Yeah, we got out of bed.
Get that elevator.
This is a scene looking south. There's a kingfisher, and there's nothing left of the pier. That's the remains of the pier. There's a pickup truck buried under debris. home there is driven into the side of that house. And there's house there driven backwards on it. Where the was originally. The debris from the beach is carried all the way across the marsh and into the tree line on the other side of the creek. That mobile home there has been driven into the front end of the other mobile home, and both of those have been driven into a double wide, just like matchsticks.
Newspaper picture there.
Yeah, that is. This is looking north on Walkmall. This is behind Water's Edge. Yeah, Daryl.
Need a phone receiver? Where the phone is? No, Daryl. Well, there's a percent. Well, they shouldn't have been built out front to begin with. Redo the condos, but don't put anything out front. No beef. Got high tide.
This is where the sand used to be, top of that footing right there. Because it's taken some 6 feet of sand out of this point right here. Yeah, there's been roughly 6 feet of sand moved out, 6 to 8 feet. first floor of condominiums been wiped out. Yeah, I guess so. Recognize Carol? You're going to have a lot of work to do with that. Look at the depth of this sand right here. Sand right there is about 6 feet high. Level out, it's 3 or 4 feet high. Whatever used to be here is gone. It's been totally destroyed. I don't know what we did. Sand right here is probably 4 or 5 feet deep. This is where a house used to be. It's totally destroyed. There's nothing left.
You couldn't dare go in that house. That wouldn't be safe at all.
This one's just on the verge of collapsing. All the piers have virtually been ripped out from underneath.
Yeah, those.
That's probably most of the houses. That's on the front with a vacant lot in. This washed out a hole here probably 8 or 10 feet deep. Fire hydrant sitting 4 feet in the air. Matter of fact, water lines, sewer lines, all exposed. That's how deep this was washed out.
That's a must.
There's no damage that the big hotels gave a lot of protection to the houses that were behind them. These houses here only had other houses in front of them. And the second row of houses were severely damaged. And many of the front row houses, it just took completely out. They're not even there. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, and 2 of them are gone. This one survived, and that one's completely gone. Back here, Bill.
Huh?
Yeah, pick up that truck. Slam way back up in there. It's possible that that house there came from this lot right there. That's probably. Which is like 3 blocks away.
She knows Brent Bill.
Oh, is that right? There's a pickup truck there that's been driven underneath that house. The buildings in the background is the dormitories of the Garden City Christian Retreat. All the books still on the bookshelf. This is the second row house. The house, 2 houses next to it are gone. There's at least 2 or 3 houses. Large space here just completely wiped out, maybe 300 feet wide. Probably at least 3 houses used to be here. And nothing left, not even hardly the foundation, no foundation, few piers. Building behind, all of the first 4 condominiums are gone, just totally wiped out.
One dog. We went to McClellanville and stayed in the woods.
Oh my God.
McClellanville's a disaster area.
It really is awful.
I can't believe it's a name.
That's the chapel at Garden City. It's completely flat. It's 3, 4, 5 rows back from the front. This house is carried to the rear. Used to be up here on this foundation here. That's a house there. Just cleaned it out from front to back. Just all the way through. Nothing left. Here's another one that's the same way.
We'll get this ship off the beach.
All of these, whatever used to be this house to those condominiums are gone. There were no vacant lots in here. Whatever used to be there. That's probably some of the remains of it right there. Jammed into these condominiums. This elevation here must be lowered 10 or 12 feet. This section right here wiped out the first row, second row, third row. That looks like 3 or 4 rows. We're about half a mile from the Kingfisher Bay. Another house used to be right here is totally gone. It's an amazing amount of sand that's been cut away from here. Sand dunes or anything left. It's just ocean comes right on into the houses now. It's been completely eaten away. More houses missing in this gap right here. The motel used to be right here. It's gone. Condominium there is built real well. This little condominium's built real well. It's about as good a shape as any I've seen.
This is theirs on the corner with the blue.
These are the backs of the rooms where all of the furniture and bedding and everything been driven all the way to the rear.
Oh, this came out of the shop. It's on the hanger.
Yeah. You think that's on sale?
Let's see. Here, Becky, one for her and one for Ruby. Becky, one for Ruby.
Uh-uh.
That was a little small.
This is all that remains of Garden City Pier. Even took the pilings out of the water. That used to be the restaurant right there. This is looking in the front of the Kingfisher. That's also looking through the front, all the way out the back, through 2 rooms. These are the scenes looking in Kingfisher, and notice that it even stripped the wallpaper off the wall. Yeah.
I just wonder how sound the structure's going to be in this thing.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think this one looks better than some of the rest of them.
Yeah. How much damage underneath is on the way to see, I guess.
Here's 2 rooms here, just wiped completely out, front and back. Here's the pier, and that's what's left of the western top of the pier. gone at this point. The street was cleared with bulldozers. This give you some idea how deep sand is behind these houses. It's been pushed up with a dozer. That house right there is gone. This one's gutted. One next to it is gone. And that one is next to it barely standing. There's a house in the distance. Just shoved it all the way back in the middle of the road. That appears to be not a very old house there. Yes, took the house off the framing and took it to the rear and demolished it. And this is the subfloor in there. This area through here has just been swept clean of houses. And one house standing there probably in a quarter of a mile. One left standing. Many of them have been blown back into the second row, houses. Some have been even blown all the way back into the third row. Not only the first row, but the second row, and even the third row. First houses, what it's done is taken the whole first row and propel them backwards into the second row. This house right there is supposed to be on the first row, and it's shoved into the house that's on the second row.
Load it down.
Yeah, that's...
Look at this, though. One little house.
Somebody designed that one good. This on US 17.
Number 280 came in on County
Right at the intersection of Garden City.
County Control is 41.
And the front end of that station's blown out over there.
10-4, you can see. 10-4.
Yeah.
Ah.
Engine 1 is time to town, county know they got a broken water main spewing water approximately 200 yards south of the Lane Church on the left. That's on the 17th.
Look at that. Clean those billboards off, Mary Jane. Got something in it.
We lost them in. Can you just check that to see if you can find anything? There's one, please.
I know.
But go ahead now and talk to a couple of the propane places. They don't have...
This is 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. Pretty light traffic. Be at Myrtle Beach. Look how brown the leaves are, Mary Jane. It's like they all burnt. You know what I'm saying?
This is the Methodist Church in Myrtle Beach, showing the steeple has been blown off. And there's the rest of the steeple on the lane.
Coming in from Conway.
Sadie Hill, Row. Still in there? Look, she said it's good. Look at all this.
Yeah. This is some little crossroads just north of Darlington. Heavy damage. Building almost destroyed. They were still inside. Silly. It's real heavy damage through here. This is in Sherall, South Carolina. Heavy damage in Sherall, South Carolina. Oh, huge oak trees down. Right down the middle of the street. Power lines still down. Just tremendous trees. Look at the size of these trees. Been through Sherall, pretty little town.
What?
A lot of damage.
Okay, as we take a look at the tape, there we are. And this is some of those, I think, Bull Island out here. You can see a tremendous amount of wind damage on trees. Palmetto trees are barely. This is the Intracoastal Waterway, McClellanville. We're actually going up, we're going to find, this is Jeremy Creek. You can see the extensive damage to some of the seafood processing areas here in McClellanville. And Tom, I think you might mention some of the flooding that is quite evident here in this area.
We'll see in just a moment a school that was an evacuation area where the people out in McClellanville gathered, many people gathered, set far back from the ocean, from the water, assumed safe. And in just a moment you'll see it. It was completely surrounded by water. And Alan Sharp talked to one of the people there at the school. The governor's helicopter landed at the school yesterday, and when he saw the people waving there, surrounded by water, just to reassure them of the support of the state and trying to find out what could be done to help them. In just a moment you'll see that, and that they had waves against the side of the school, according to one person who was there at the school. You can see the boats up. We're going to go back across before we see the school, some more.
Some of the fishing fleet there at McClellanville. See what it's done to some boats. Some of them are, this is an area that some of them might put them in dry dock, but you can see what some of the storm damage has done.
If it pushed the boat that high, the surge was at about what point here? Any idea?
Well, it's really hard to say, but yeah. But it really amazes some of us that we did get this kind of water this far back up into Bulls Bay, and I think that that indicates that the eye of the storms certainly was south of here, and that wall of water was pushed north and east of the eye when it made landfall around Charleston.
So as you'll see when we approach this school, there were some very fortunate people with the wall of water that was so close to this school, pushing those fishing boats up on the land like that. There's the school evacuation area. And you'll see when we move around with the helicopter, the power of the water when it rearranges the cars parked in the parking lot into one jumbled mass of metal. That was an evacuation area, and you can see the water that's remaining after the storm. There were waves against the side of this during the storm. There you see the cars. You can see the power of that water pushing, rearranging thousands of pounds, tons of metal. Okay, at this point, we'll move in just a moment. McClellanville set back from the ocean.
Tom, I think this shows a good example of this storm didn't just pick out people in the Barrier Islands. There are people who are certainly suffering from the consequences of this storm who are not people who have just second homes on Barrier Islands, but they're people moderate income who are certainly suffering because of the hurricane that hit this state.
And they came back over the school. The helicopter yesterday landed at the school, and they met with people from the McClellanville community. Many people poor, low income. This area, not heavily populated, rural, and dependent on the sea for their livelihood in many cases.
And I think we ought to point out that the storm wreaked havoc. Not the park, of course, is right there. We cross the Murrells Inlet jetties, and we go to Garden City, and of course the tip down there is where the jetties are. We move up Garden City, and then from there we bleed into Surfside Beach, and then from Surfside Beach into what I call South Myrtle, and then Myrtle Beach, and then Briarcliff Acres, and then on up into North Myrtle Beach.
Okay, let's take a look at that, and we'll start off. Just north of Georgetown,
This is Devereux. And a lot of this was behind the seawall, and you got to understand that there's tremendous surge here damaged these houses. Some of these houses, I think, cost the construction alone between $500,000 to $1 million. And you can see what the surge did here. It destroyed some of these houses. You see pretty extensive flooding in the interior of Devereux here. You see the tremendous scarps where they cut away dunes. These were giant dunes in front, and they've been scarped extensively by the storm.
Scarped, what is that?
Well, they've been eroded away, and we call it the scarp, where the face of that dune now is exposed. Now we're crossing, this is one of the most amazing areas, I think. We're crossing Midway Inlet, and this is the south end of Pawleys Island. I think this is one of the greatest landmarks in the state of South Carolina. And you can see that the storm actually cut a new inlet here. You're going to see that in just a second, and they capped it off by putting a house in the middle of it.
There's the inlet.
There are houses here that were here that are now back in the creek, and some of them have actually been blown back to the mainland behind Pawleys Island. We're coming up toward the middle of the island, and in this area south of the South Causeway, there's still extensive damage. You can see houses that have been propelled back into the second and third row. Houses in the middle of the island seem to have fared better than those certainly down on the south end. Still looking at damage at Pawleys. There were some nice dunes in this area. They've certainly been cut away by the storm surge, and there's damage pretty much throughout Pawleys. This is another one of the causeways that come onto the island.
How long will it take to rebuild a dune system?
Well, a lot of this sand we feel is just offshore, and I could see even yesterday some of that sand is coming back on shore, but you know, it's not, we're moving into a time of year where we're usually into erosional pattern rather than an accretional pattern. Accretion starts during the spring and summer. So we're entering this period in certainly a tremendous net deficit.
Is there danger for further damage from the tides in the winter?
And I would like to say that we are considering an emergency order that we hope to be issuing in the next day or so. That's going to allow people to push sand or bring sand in from, as long as it's compatible sand from external sources, or push sand from the mean low water up toward their houses to get some protection. And of course, we already at this time have an emergency order in place that allows people to use sandbags to help protect structures. But the beach face has been lowered dramatically by this storm. This is the Parley's Island Pier Village, and you can see there's no longer a pier here. It's been destroyed. Listen, we're moving toward the north end of Parley's now, and still damage here in this area.
If you've just joined us, we're looking at unedited footage taken yesterday aboard Apache helicopter of the South Carolina National Guard with Governor Carroll Campbell, other top state officials, Alan Sharp from ETV, shooting the pictures. And you're seeing them as they were shot, going from Hilton Head to North Myrtle Beach.
Now we crossed the inlet. We're up here now on a beach called Magnolia Beach, which is the southern part of Litchfield. And now we're into some of the development at Litchfield. You can see still some damage in these areas, but a landmark on this part of the beach, I think, would be the old Litchfield Inn, and it suffered a good bit of damage, and we'll be coming up on that here in just a little bit. This is the Litchfield Inn here, and you can see there's some damage to some of the cabanas on each side here. There's one there that has some damage. And I believe this area is more properly called, or termed Litchfield by the Sea in this area, part of the Litchfield development. And again, they had some very nice dunes in this area, and they've certainly been...
you can see the white sand being...
Right, been dramatically reduced as a clubhouse, and it's been undermined, it seems, by... And this was a big dune at this point, and it's certainly been cut away. I think this area is probably better termed North Litchfield we're getting into now here.
Dunes still in place there, pretty much.
Right, not as extensive a damage as we've seen in some of the other areas.
And this program will air twice on ETV, Saturday night at 11, Sunday night at 10 p.m.
Okay, we're crossing Burroughs Inlet now, and this is the south end of Garden City. You see there's some very nice homes out here, and one thing that helped save these houses, I believe, is that there was sand pumped up on the north side of the north jetty there, and there's a good bit of sand, a tremendous volume of sand that is built out in front here and accreted, and it certainly didn't hurt to have that amount of sand out in front of some of these houses. But as we go a little farther north here, I think we're going to see some of the, what I consider to be some of the worst damage we had. In one area, I think there's like, out of 15 homes on the front beach, 12 of them we couldn't account for, they're gone. And some of them were unfortunately propelled into houses behind them.
With all the damage, though, this the point of Garden City, this is remarkable. The amount of damage here compared to the damage south and damage north of it.
Right.
It did quite well, and this snow road there is covered with sand. swing around the point, Garden City. This area constructed over the last 20 years. 20 years ago, just a enormous, magnificent set of sand dunes at the end of Garden City. It's in the last 15, 20 years, large, very beautiful homes built on the point, Garden City. You can see the patterns of sand as pushed by the surge past the foundations of the homes.
Well, and you can clearly see how much sand was moved since the road was actually covered by sand that came off the beach, and there was a lot of sand on this beach.
Okay, now we'll start moving north.
Yeah, we're actually moving north, and we're going up past Marlin Cay Marina and up toward the Kingfisher Inn as landmarks that some people will recognize. This is, of course, down toward the point, and now we're beginning to move north.
How much can people rebuild?
Well, it's actually going to depend on where they are in relation to the baseline and the setback lines on the beach statute. But, you know, most houses, I think, single-family dwellings are going to be in pretty good shape. But I think clearly we're beginning to assess that situation right now, given the lines on the maps and exactly which structures have been damaged. But here we're getting in some of the greatest destruction, I think, compares to areas south here at Pawleys. There are some houses actually missing here, and you can see some of them have been propelled back across the street into houses. There's one right there has been propelled back into the street, across the street actually, and it's been propelled into a house behind it. I think we counted in this area something like 12 out of 15 of them were just totally destroyed. And it might, you know, prompt one to speculate that clearly this might be an area where a tornado might have been spawned to do this kind of damage. Certainly hadn't been confirmed, but to see that kind of localized damage would lend that kind of thought that maybe a tornado was spawned at the wall of the eye to do this kind of damage. There again, you see the kind of destruction here. And now we're getting up. This is the Kingfisher, and there used to be a pier in front of that, and it's no longer there.
Okay, we'll swing around Garden City now, and the helicopter will move back to be able to see a different perspective as we move over the inlet, the creek there. There's one home in the middle of the road. See it there on the lower part of the screen. And this was a heavily built-up area, and you can see gaping holes, empty land.
You can see the Kingfisher Inn out there, and this, I think, at one time was called Sam's Corner, right behind Kingfisher, and of course the pier was there. It's been there for some time. It's no longer there. It's obliterated by the storm.
Back over. There's the remains of the restaurant pier.
That's the foundation of the beginnings of the pier, and it's
nothing there.
The building's gone.
Okay, we're going to move on up. Now we're moving into approaching Surfside. This is the area between Garden City and Surfside.
I might point out for people that Garden City is really not a municipality. It's the county line runs in here in this area, and to the south of it is Georgetown County, to the north of it is Horry County. And we're getting up north now. We'll pass out of Garden City, and this is still some of Garden City, some extensive development they've had there. We'll move up into Surfside Beach here in a few minutes. This Garden City area was hit pretty hard by the storms of December '86, January '87. And it looks like we're going to be dealing with some of the same issues down there after this storm, and that is some of the swimming pool rebuilding that is clearly now out on the beach, and the other amenity packages like jacuzzis that are now just lying out on the beach, and we're going to see more of those as we go further north.
Now we're into the Surfside area, I think, now.
Yeah, we're moving into Surfside Beach. You can see there was pretty extensive flooding, it appears, as we move inland off the beach. This is a day's end there at Surfside Beach. And their pier, of course, is no longer there.